Okay, hello. I cannot believe how quickly our classroom management by design series is coming together. Hopefully you have watched the previous, I think we're up to week 6 already, so hopefully you've watched the previous videos, posts, and are doing the work, following along, setting yourself up for classroom management success. So, if you don't know me, I am Lauren Zvigan. I am the founder of Lesson Plan Toolbox, where I help teachers primary teachers especially, master their classroom management. And in the dynamic environment of primary education, I'm telling you, effective classroom management is the cornerstone of a successful learning experience for your students. If you don't know much about me, I have been in education for over 2 decades. I cannot believe it. And I have found that the secret to classroom management success and maintaining an orderly and positive classroom, it lies in the art of mastering positive behavior management. But you have to do this in a systematic way. We're not going to reward everything, right? The reason this works is because this approach fosters a supportive and engaging learning environment, but it also encourages students to take responsibility for their actions and behaviors. It holds them accountable. That's why this really, really works, because we're going to praise the positive and then work on what our improvement needs to be in other, not so great behaviors. So as we jump into it, let's just talk about some techniques for positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is a powerful tool that any teacher's toolkit needs. It's essential, okay? This is about acknowledging and rewarding behaviors you want to see more of, which thereby will encourage students to repeat those behaviors over and over again. We're not going to reward everything, but we're going to focus on behaviors we really want them to be proud of and to do again and again in the classroom. So we're going to give you some techniques right now that you can take into consideration. Use some of these, use all of these, share this with your teacher friends, okay? First up is verbal praise. This is simple. You're going to be sincere. You're going to give verbal praise because it can go a long way with your students. You're recognizing your students' efforts and their achievements, no matter how small in the beginning, until it becomes automatic, okay? Great job. I am so proud of you. Using phrases like that can boost a child's confidence and motivations. And that's all you need, just your words. Your words alone hold so much power with the little ones especially. It's not just about praising the outcome, but also the efforts and the process that the students are going through, especially again with those youngest of learners, right? Some of them, it might be their first experience in school. So you have to keep that in mind. Number 2 are those nonverbal cues. So a lot of times we say actions speak louder than words, right? It works for grown-ups too. Smiles, thumbs up, nods of approval. Those gestures can all offer positive reinforcement effectively, just without even using words. Those nonverbal cues, they're subtle, but they're powerful ways, and your students know that you're proud of them. You're communicating your appreciation and your encouragement, and that you're really satisfied with what they're doing. And sometimes they like that secret thumbs up because you and the student are making eye contact, and you know that it's between you two, not the whole class. Okay, next one is one you have to be mindful of. It's tangible rewards. We love the intrinsic motivation, right? But tangible rewards can also be effective in certain situations, especially with younger students. And I am not saying go out and buy toys from the Dollar Tree or anything like that. Stickers, stamps, just small little prizes. Those can serve as just a great, immediate, positive reinforcement tool. Ensure that the rewards are given consistently, though, and they're given fairly to maintain the effectiveness of your positive reinforcement. If you're doing it for one student, you need to maintain that consistency across the board. Don't spend a lot of money. Stickers go a long way. Stamps go a long way. We've gotten away from stamps. Bring the stamps back. Okay, number 4, we're going to talk about privileges or responsibilities. Granting special privileges or responsibilities can be a big motivator for so many students in our classrooms. When you are allowing a student to be the line leader, the classroom helper, or giving them that extra free time, those are such great ways to reinforce positive behavior. They're going to want to do whatever it was that led to that reward again. These privileges, they're not only rewarding the good behavior, but they're instilling that sense of responsibility, right? They're holding the students accountable in a positive manner, and that's what we want to achieve. So let's talk about different types of reward systems. So we talked about different ways to focus on positive reinforcement. Now let's talk about different reward systems. A structured reward system can help streamline your positive reinforcement. It will make it more systematic, which is going to make it more effective, okay? So let's talk about how can you develop this reward system so it's tailored for your classroom. Again, these are just suggestions, ideas. Take them all, use them all, take some of them, pick and choose, experiment, see what works for you. We started with that vision. Make sure this aligns with your vision. So first, you want to identify target behaviors. Start by identifying the behaviors you want to encourage over and over again. This could be anything from following directions the first time given to being kind. You're seeing kindness towards other classmates. That's a big one too. Maybe you want to focus on completing assignments on time. These are all, you have to decide what behaviors do you want to focus on and target and really instill in your students. Be specific and clear about the behaviors so your students know your expectations. And those student behavior scenario of the day cards, again, are a great way to do this easily and effectively every day during your classroom management. Okay, number 2, set clear expectations. You will clearly communicate the behaviors that will earn rewards and the type of rewards available. Communicate that to your students. Don't make them think they're going to be going to your little store every time they do something. No. That's for maybe once a month they do that. How do you do this? Use charts, use posters, classroom discussion, classroom meeting times. These are all ways to communicate with your students the reward system, how it works, and it's going to make you be consistent because consistency is key. Your students should know that a positive behavior will always lead to positive reinforcement. And it could, again, just be verbal. Great job. Thank you for being so patient. Anything like that. Number 3, create a point system. This works for some teachers. It doesn't work for everybody. I was not one to do this. It did not work for me, but I've seen it work really, really well in a lot of classrooms. You simply implement a point or a token system where students can earn points for positive behavior, right? You have to keep track of this though. The points can be accumulated and then later you exchange them for rewards. So this is where that classroom store idea comes in. For instance, 5 points, maybe they earn a special big sticker. And then 10 points, it might be extra playtime. Doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Remember that. You don't have to necessarily pay out of pocket to do these things. Okay, number 4 that you want to keep in mind is ensure fairness and consistency. This is big. You know this. You need to maintain the integrity of the reward system. This is crucial. It has to be fair and it has to be consistent. Every single student in your room should have an equal opportunity to earn the positive reinforcement rewards if you go this route. They should know the criteria for earning them, and it needs to be applied consistently. You have to avoid favoritism. This is where it goes awry. And you have to ensure that the system is transparent. Everybody is on the same page. So, we talked about the reward systems. Let's talk about creating a classroom reward chart. Again, just to give you some ideas for what this looks like. Creating a classroom reward chart, it's nice because this is interactive and it's a visual way to track and reinforce behavior. Not necessarily clip charts, and it could be something hidden away by your desk where only you and your students know about it, okay? But let me just give you just a little bit of a step-by-step guide on what this would look like. Again, take this, use it, take some of it, see what flows for you, what feels aligned for you. First and foremost, you have to figure out what kind of chart you want. You have to choose a design that is visually appealing and it's kind of going to captivate your students' attention, and it's easy to understand, especially for our youngest of learners, okay? You can simply use a poster board. You could use an extra whiteboard in your classroom. You might use Class Dojo and have it be a digital tool, and then it really is private. It's not hanging in your classroom. Those all work. You have to figure out what works for you. Then, if you use a chart or a poster board, you could divide this into sections for each student for the different behaviors you are targeting. And it might be different goals for different students. If you're a first-year teacher, that might be too much, but if you are a veteran teacher, go for it. Target behaviors you want for each student. Then what are you going to do? You're going to set up those categories and goals for your students. So establish the categories for the different types of positive behaviors. For example, you might have a category that says helping others. You might have one that says completing homework. You might have one that says following directions. Whatever categories, whatever behaviors you want to instill over and over again, those are going to be your categories. And then set achievable goals for each student. You want to do this so they stay motivated. If you're telling them 25 stickers, that might be too much in the beginning. So keep that in mind. Keep it something that they can achieve, especially to get the buy-in in the beginning. Then we need to track progress. So you regularly have to update the chart to reflect the student's progress. This is why I didn't really do it, because I was not good at this part of the consistency. Using the stickers, using the stamps, using a marker. Somehow you have to decide how are you going to indicate the achievements that your students are accomplishing and record them. You have to make this a part of your daily or weekly routine to keep the momentum going. And if you don't, they are not going to follow your plan. It's not going to work. It's that simple. If you are not consistent, or if you don't think you can be, then you probably want to not do this reward. Just focus on the praise using words. Next up, celebrate the achievements, right? When students reach their goals, celebrate it. Encourage others to celebrate it, right? Give them the agreed upon rewards. This could be a simple prize, it could be a certificate, it could be a special privilege. Whatever it is, you decide. It does not have to cost a lot of money. Keep that in mind. And then publicly acknowledge their success, the students' successes, so they can also encourage others to strive for the same thing. What are some benefits of the positive reinforcement? So let's talk about this, right? And again, keep in mind, verbal praise is a form of positive reinforcement. Those visual cues, it doesn't have to cost money, okay? When you're incorporating this positive behavior reinforcement in your classroom, it's going to give you benefits beyond belief, okay? You are going to see, and again, you have to be consistent with this and you have to be fair. You cannot show favoritism at all. That's a big no-no, or this won't work. But if you are consistent, you are fair, you are going to see such an improvement in your classroom atmosphere and how it feels. It's going just to promote this better teacher-student relationship, and it's going to reduce behavior issues in your classroom because you're focusing on the positive. They're going to work really hard to work on those behaviors. You're going to see increased student motivation, right? When you're recognizing and you're rewarding good behavior, your students' intrinsic motivation is going to be boosted. And then guess what happens? They want to participate. Your student engagement is going to go up, which is going to lead into the next benefit, which is enhanced academic performance. When your students are engaged in the lesson, they're engaged in, trying to work towards that reward, their academic performance is going to improve. Okay? It's boosted because they're paying attention to you and they want you to be watching them. Another great benefit is the development of the social skills. Positive reinforcement helps students to develop those essential social skills like cooperation, respect, responsibility, and accountability. They're responsible and they're accountable. Those are two huge pieces in the puzzle. Okay. So the next thing we want to talk about to get you kind of in this whole flow of understanding this whole process of positive reinforcement are just ways to maximize the effectiveness of the positive reinforcement strategy. Again, consider these. You don't have to use them. Just be considerate of these ideas. The first one is a must-do, though. You have to be consistent. You've heard me say this over and over again, and it's because it is so important. If you are not consistent, it will not work. Consistency in your reinforcement approach is what is going to ensure that the students clearly understand the connection between the behaviors and the rewards. Okay? That is a must-do. You also need to be specific. When you're giving praise, when you're giving rewards, you want to be specific about what behaviors you are recognizing. And again, using those visual cues, those work. You don't have to necessarily use words. The kids are going to know. They're going to understand your body language and that you are really watching them. And what's great is this is going to help students understand exactly what they did right, and so they're going to want to repeat that behavior, okay? The next step is you do have to have some flexibility in this. Although the consistency is super, super crucial, it's also essential to be flexible and to adapt your approach as needed. You're going to know this with your intuition. You're also going to have to pay attention to the fact that different students may respond better to different types of reinforcement. So you might not be changing necessarily the rewards, but just be mindful that different students will respond differently to different forms of reinforcement. Okay, involve students in the development of your reward system. Do this at the beginning of the year. Even if you're in the middle of the year, whenever you decide to implement this. This is because it's going to increase their buy-in and their motivation to participate. Involve them. You might have the idea and you're just going to kind of reiterate through them, okay? Next, you will want to reflect pretty regularly on how effective your strategies are working and then make adjustments as needed. Tweak it as needed. What works for one group of students one year may not work for your group of students the next year. That's why we are here, because we know that every single year your classroom management is probably going to be shifting. Okay? That's why we're here. We help you to make that shift without you having to spend too much time Googling and trying to figure out what to do. You tell us what's happening, we do all that for you. Okay. This positive reinforcement, it is such a huge piece of classroom management, and it is truly a rewarding journey for you and your students. By implementing these techniques, again, pick and choose what works for you, make sure it's aligned to your vision, but by implementing the techniques, developing your reward system, and then creating those engaging activities like the reward chart, making it interactive. This is what's going to allow you to establish that positive and productive classroom culture. Okay, this is like the bread and butter of your classroom management. All of these pieces are going to work together, and this is the big one. The key lies, you're going to know what I'm going to say, in being consistent, being specific, be flexible as needed when you're developing this, when you're working through this. As you celebrate your students' successes, you're not only going to enhance their learning experience, but you're also going to be creating this classroom atmosphere where positivity and respect are just thriving. Students, families, they're going to want their students in your classroom. You are going to be the it teacher. Take these strategies, embrace them. Watch your classroom transform. Use that reflecting time. Tweak as you need, but watch your classroom transform into just this dynamic space where every student feels valued and motivated, and they're going to want to succeed. They're going to want to earn that prize. Okay, thank you again so much for being here. This is just one of those topics I can go on, and inside our membership, if you have specific questions, please fill out your Google form. We will get you the videos to answer your specific questions, but this is what we do, right? You tell us what you need on the end of classroom management, and then we will give you the strategies. Because this is, a post blog, we're not going to get into specific, okay, this is for you, but inside the community, we do get a lot more specific with that success, with the classroom management success strategies. So be mindful of that. Keep it in the back of your head. We are going to be creating a 5-day classroom management success challenge coming up in a couple weeks here in July. So be on the lookout. In fact, I think by the time you see this, the opt-in or the interest form, it's going to be available and you can get registered, and we would love to have you. So many great prizes. The grand prize winner is going to receive free memberships 1 year inside our community for each of the K-3 teachers that you teach with in your building. So keep that in mind. You would not just earn the membership, but so would your team of primary teachers, kindergarten through 3rd grade. So excited to get that up and running this month. We're going to keep this going with our Classroom Management by Design series, so be sure to come back next week. Again, I'm Lauren Began, founder of Lesson Plan Toolbox. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, find us at Lesson Plan Toolbox on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. We are under Classroom Management for Primary Teachers, so find our Facebook page. We are growing every day with that, which is super exciting. But yeah, pretty much this is what we do. We help you master, and the more you want to work with us, the more value you are going to see, and the quicker your response or your transformation will be with your classroom management. So, okay, we will talk to you soon. We will see you next week. Bye.